We now move from opening vision to practical application. Our first panel is titled From US Innovation to Egypt's AI Future, Tools, Talent, and Cultural Possibility. The discussion will explore how global AI innovation can accelerate Egypt's digital transformation, how companies can build and retain the talent needed for the next phase of growth, and how technology can be adapted to Egypt's language, culture, and real market needs. Our moderator is Gaudiosi, Deputy Chief of Mission at the U.S. Embassy in Cairo. Joining the panel are Mohamed Zomor, General Manager of Dell Technologies, Marwa Abbas, Chief Executive Officer of Raya Informational Technology, and Ossama Eldeeb, Managing Director at Cisco. So please welcome our moderator and panelists to the stage with a nice round of applause.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen, and fellow explorers on the frontiers of technology. Inspired by the remarks of our keynote speakers, let us now move forward. I am Gaudiosi. I have the privilege of being the Deputy Chief of Mission at our embassy in Cairo, and I have the pleasure of moderating this morning's discussion entitled U.S. Innovation to Egypt's AI Future, Tools, Talent, and Cultural Possibility. I've been back in Cairo for just 1 month, and already my staff knows me so well that my notes for this morning remind me not to give a speech. So I thank them, and I'm sure you thank them too. But fear not. Like you, I look forward to hearing our panelists this morning as they share their decades of experience to help us consider the profoundly important issues raised by the invention and the integration of AI. Fundamentally, how we define successful innovation strategies and detail their implications, how we can manage change and match technologies to talent here in Egypt especially, how we can assess the needs of the local market and address the global context, and fundamentally, how can we, the United States and Egypt, meet these challenges in the context of an enduring partnership that has met all challenges before and regarded them as opportunities. How can we, as public and private sector representatives, work together to innovate boldly as we regulate responsibly by ensuring both the high walls and the open gates necessary for both progress and profit? To answer these questions and more, we turn with gratitude to our esteemed panel. Let me welcome Mohamed Zomor, who joins us as General Manager and Managing Director of Dell Technologies Egypt, while simultaneously serving as the Regional Senior Sales Director for Data Solutions across Central and Eastern Europe, the Middle East, Turkey, and Africa. He brings more than 23 years of experience in the technology sector, having held leadership roles across sales, consulting services, and operations, helping organizations adopt AI-ready infrastructure to modernize their data environments and to advance their digital transformation strategies. I welcome as well Marwa Abbas, the CEO of Raya Information Technology, having spent decades at IBM, where she held senior roles in Egypt and elsewhere in the Middle East and Africa, most recently serving as General Manager and Technology Leader for IBM Egypt and North Africa. Welcome. And Ossama Eldeeb, the Regional Director of Cisco's partner organizations across the Middle East, Africa, Turkey, Romania, and CIS. With more than 25 years of technology sector experience, he leads Cisco's engagement with its regional partner ecosystem, supporting go-to-market strategy, business growth, and technology adoption. Before joining Cisco, he held senior leadership roles at VMware, Microsoft, and AMD. Thank you enormously for being with us and sharing your experience. By your leave, I would propose to ask each of you a question, to invite the other two to comment on that as we go through the questions regarding AI technology, the roles of public and private sector, and culminating in thoughts on the regulatory environment, and then your practical advice as we talk about AI. So let me, if I may, ask Ossama to begin. Lest we think that AI is someone else's opportunity as opposed to the new reality, could I invite you to share your thoughts about how you have worked not only on AI, but with AI, and what conclusions have you drawn from that experience?
Thank you, Eric, and thank you for the great introduction. When I got the topic of the panel and had the discussion with Omar for the first time, I smiled because I figured, without knowing, I've spent the last 6 months preparing for this specific session with a personal example that I can share with all of you today. So around 6 months ago, I had a health problem that required a certain way to track something related to health and nutrition and food. And I looked in the market, and I couldn't find an app out there that can help me track what I need to track. So I said, okay, let me try to maybe hire a software developer, maybe find a team. I actually got some quotations, and it was a lot of back and forth, and I have a very busy schedule. So I didn't really have the time to sit and go back and forth with them. And then at Cisco, we have the culture of innovation. We're being asked, we're even pushed as employees to leverage AI in our day-to-day work and to leverage the tools that are available out there. So I thought to myself, why not try to build it myself and see what I can come up with? And mind you, I'm not a software developer, not a technical person. I don't have any technical skills. But I had an idea, and I spent the time and effort to put it into that idea. And in the span of 2 months, I managed to have a fully functional mobile app on Google Play, on App Store, where anyone today can go in and download it and use it. Cost me less than $200. That includes $100 to be a developer at Apple, $25 to be a developer at Google. So in reality, it costs less than $75 from a cost perspective. Today, there are more than 500 people using this app across more than 10 countries across the world. And I only put it out there on LinkedIn with a couple of posts. That's it. No marketing, nothing. And it's being adopted and used through word of mouth. Now, that's the kind of possibility we're dealing with. And I remember after the football match of Egypt and coming back when they were sitting with the president looked at Mohamed Salah and told him, don't be upset with me, Mohammed, but aren't there in a country of 100 million people 3-4 other Mohamed Salahs? And that's spot on, because today as we speak, anyone sitting in any of the 27 governorates in Egypt, in Elminia, in Ina, in Suhag, in Bani Suwaif, and Al-Bahira, with only a PC and an internet connection and less than 10,000 pounds, with just an idea, can manage to do what I did. That's the kind of possibility we're dealing with today, and that's the story that I thought very relevant to the discussion we're having today.
Thank you most of all for putting me to shame, but by demonstrating how the power of AI is not just at our fingertips, but indeed in our hands individually. Marwa, could I invite your comment about AI and how that is used on a daily basis, both personally and then strategically in your work?
Thank you, Eric, and good morning, everyone. It's a pleasure to be here with you and with the colleagues of within the panel. Actually, AI is an enabler, and enabling every organization, every institution to not only increase productivity, but become competitive. Because unless there is a relevance to the use of AI to the business, I don't think it's worth the investment. So that's the first thing. The second thing to organizations they need to look at is how to scale that AI. How I'm going to be able to start with something and be able to scale it and progress with that. The third and the most important thing, which I think we all agree on and believe in it, but we still fear the part of, is the governance, the trustworthiness of the AI. And I think with the evolution of a lot of governance models that are existent today within US technologies, I think that part is becoming more adaptive into the use of AI. So back again to those three things. But if I come to look at it from a local perspective now, and what does that mean? It means that we have to enable our talent to be able to implement and ensure the deployment of the global innovation and the global technologies, whether it's US and so forth, to come together at local implementations in the local market. And that's where our part comes in. And this is the aspiration for an institution like Raya to become one of those implementers in the local market that deploy global innovation, but also leveraging the local talent. And with this, we've established and has been establishing across the years the Raya Tech University, which is something that complements with the platforms of the US companies and technologies when they come to have platforms for skilling. We bring that together. We bring relevance to the training from the local requirements so that we can scale and skill the talent in the Egyptian market to be able to hire them or avail them in the market to other organizations with the most recent technologies available. So it's a two-way kind of a thing. We give to the society in terms of skilling and being able to acquire those skills to implement properly in the local market. So that's the view.
Honestly. Mohamed, may I invite your comment on this theme about using AI to advance AI?
Can you hear me? Yeah, perfect. So good morning, everyone, first. Ossama is a dear friend, so first of all, I want to make sure that your health is okay now. Great. So the app is working. That's more important than the app. Your health is more important. So my comments here is thank you, first of all, for the introduction and the decades of experience that all of the people in front of you have. But the reality is we are all learning. This is the fact now. With the AI introduced, we are all learning. It's a real disruptive technology. When we say disruptive technology, this is one of the, if not the biggest disruptive technologies we have been ever through. And that's why there is a lot of things to do. Talent stands as one of the most important aspects. And we are all proud when we say and we talk about Egypt that we definitely have this in the heart of what we usually, whatever the domain we're talking about, whether it's soccer or technology, we always talk about our talent. And we owe, as Marwa was saying, we owe the society a lot. How we can bridge the talent and how we can bridge to the talent, from the industry to the talent, what we can introduce is specific with the disruptive technology like AI. And one of the things that I would like to share with you that this year we will have the 4th round of the Empower AI Hackathon. And actually we are going to have the final round in August. And this is one of the, in my opinion, one of the amazing initiatives that I have been proudly working with, where we have trained more than, now in the 3rd round, it will be more than 2,000 university students, including doctors from those universities as well, not only to know about AI, but to practice AI. The last round that we had in August, if you look at the projects, the AI project that was introduced, it was impressive. It was mainly, we started to look at different things, is smart agriculture and many different use cases, but we, in the last round, the 13 teams that were in the hackathon were talking about tourism, and they came up with real use cases that can be used. And that's why, taking from Marwa's comment, that I do believe it's all around how to use the AI. I fully agree with you. AI is not an objective. AI is a tool. And the people and the talent that will be able to use this tool in the right way are going to be the talent of the future. If you look at the recent statistics from McKinsey, they are talking about 8x of the current job posts are coming with AI. The AI jobs are 8x of the normal jobs. But when we say AI jobs, we don't really mean the data scientist. We are talking about the people that will be able to use the AI to do something like Ossama said. It's opened massive opportunities for us for innovation. That's why we are expecting more than 15% by 2030, more than 15% of the global economy will be AI driven. That will come from innovation, that will come from enhancement of the products, and will come from different things, not just from the AI, but what AI can do.
Marwa, may I ask you to be the first to address the next question? You touched on the question of enabling, identifying talent. Could I ask for your thoughts on the primary stakeholders in this process, and whether we talk about the boardroom, the meeting room, the classroom, the factory floor, what roles they can most helpfully play in AI's adoption and evolution, and how they can collaborate most effectively as we seek to invest in and introduce tomorrow's technologies?
Thank you, Eric. So let's agree that the CEO agenda, now AI for at least the last year or two, AI has been a top of discussion in the boardroom and on the CEO agenda, right? And again, I bring it back to if I do the investment, how much return on that investment is going to bring back. I mean, that was just the very thing. And then they came back with a consensus. I can't remember the exact percentage, but it was very high up, that at least above the 42% are actually now not only believing that AI is a top priority on their agenda, but also, implementing some form of artificial intelligence activity or productivity within their organizations. And then this percentage is actually increasing, and like almost close to 100% now are having some form of discussion, whether are implementing or have taken the decision to implement some form. It's just a matter of this. Coming back to the second part around adoption. Adoption it's very important, because first of all, people thought, and I'm talking here institutions, government, banks, every organization where there's mass number of resources, especially in Egypt, and I'm going to talk a bit with a focused lens on Egypt. Now, is AI going to replace me? I mean, the repetitive blue-collar kind of work that is very highly dependent here in Egypt, where people, a lot of income in a lot of families are dependent on that. Is this going to replace me? Am I going to lose my job? That's one sentiment within organizations. And the question, the reality is, and then again, back again to your point, it needs to start from down upward, because it's not going to shift things. I'm gonna remind everyone and those in the room, if we remember, I don't know, 10, 15 years back, even more, when we had advertisement, printed advertisement in the newspapers every Friday in the newspaper. That was massive, and it was a huge investment by the advertising and the marketing departments in organizations. But now everything shifted to 100% digital marketing. So it was a shift. It did not replace the intent of reaching out to people and having marketing activities. It's just the mechanism has changed. And accordingly, the skills of the people needed to change to cope with the new technologies of the digital marketing. Same with AI. People need to believe that, judgment, empathy, passion, sentiment, the vibe in the room, the judgment on the final thing needs to happen by humans. And it needs intelligent people. You need to save the time of the people to focus on the most important tasks. And we need to skill the people. So again, back again to answer your question, it needs a cultural change. It needs a belief in the organization that this is going to do us better. I am doing good for myself before the organization itself, because I'm skilling myself for the future. And then the productivity improves, then creativity comes, then the ROI becomes more relevant. So it needs two ways. It needs the adoption from the CEO and the boardroom focus that this is something important, but it also needs to be pushed down from down up and up down. I think it needs to go like two sides together.
Invite your thoughts on that process of both pushing and pulling as we try to manage the change brought by AI.
Certainly, yes, and I want to build on what Marwa was saying because what Marwa was saying is really spot on. And the bottom up is really what we see happening today because the entry barrier for AI on the AI chats is really low. It doesn't matter what language you speak. AI speaks all the languages. It doesn't matter even if you know how to read and write. You can speak to it and it will speak back to you. So now the barrier is really low and it's accessible to so many people out there. Now, this means that employees, for example, will use AI, whether companies like it or not, to become very productive in their day-to-day jobs. So if the organizations and companies are not making it safe under the safe environment, a trusted way to leverage it, they will end up leveraging it. Back in the day when shadow IT was a concept, when Dropbox was there and people started sharing files on Dropbox because companies were not making that available for them, we're seeing this happening today, and there is so much information being put out there in the public, which is not safe. So now organizations need to be fast enough to make sure that the safe path to AI is the safe path and the easiest path inside the organization, not outside. Because the element of risk there becomes really high if this is not being done properly. And this is where it's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when. AI already happened. We're not talking about something that will happen in the future. I don't know if you're not aware, we're already talking about quantum. So like we started talking about AI when we were in the middle of the cloud era, now we're already starting to talk about quantum, so we're way past discussing if AI is happening. AI already happened. It's just a matter of the acceleration of the adoption that needs to be done properly.
Mohamed, could I ask for your thoughts on the challenge of moving at that speed of relevance, particularly when we talk about the regulatory environment? How can we, in a collaborative manner, be relevant without being behind the times given the pace of change and the low barriers to entry?
Yeah, I think this is one of the major challenges if you think about it. It's easy to say rather than doing it because we're still trying to understand and learn the capabilities of the AI that we have currently. You know, at the moment that we decided to take AI online is the moment that we decided the AI can control its own destiny, if you think about it. So to regulate that, it's not an easy job. However, it's a job that needs to be done and must be done because, and I'm sure that everyone here started to see a different behavior regardless what is the tool that you're using, whether it's ChatGPT or Gemini or Claude, whatever, you started to see a different reaction when you ask questions, okay? There was more of, okay, let me wait. And there's more of disclaimers in the way, you know, the tool is answering you. And that's because they are trying to regulate it. They started to think about the possibility. As back to the health thing with Ossama, I was asking about a certain medicine. I just took a picture and I asked. And immediately he was starting, no, I'm not a doctor. You have to ask. So immediately the tool started to put disclaimers about what can be said. And that give you a perception, give you a kind of understanding of what even these companies who started the whole thing are trying to look into their tools and enhance it in order to make sure that they are proactively following whatever regulation is going to come out. However, with the ethical use of AI and different things, even now when we try to generate a new picture, blah, 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 again, the tool is acting differently to our questions and our asks. And so if we go back and speak maybe about our own country, about Egypt, there is a lot of work we need to do around this regulation quickly because it's a very, very important, topic. And we don't want that to be a limitation in the future. Ossama was talking about security, cyber security. This is extremely important, you know, with the data that we have. And there was round tables during Kaizik recently, and we talked a lot together around how we can take this forward, how we can enable Egypt to have a better, digital economy percentage. Engineer Mahmoud was talking about 6%. That's amazing. It's a fast growing, but we need more. We really need more, and we think we are capable of more than 6% contribution.
Just to keep your mic on.
Sure.
First of all, I'm really struck by the extent to which this discussion has not revolved around whether, but rather how, for a phenomenon that is not only inevitable, but indeed ongoing. I think back to service in a country that was very famous for its scientific acumen, and its informal motto was, that may be all well and good in practice, but how is it in theory? We don't have that luxury. This is something that is indeed ongoing. So I'd like to invite you first, and then all of our panelists, to offer some practical advice. What is the one action you would recommend that individuals or institutions take to manage AI evolution and integration, particularly in the unique environment of Egypt?
One action. Okay. I would say that you start with what you want to achieve, and then think about how you want to use the AI. Because when we started the AI, with the introduction of generative AI, Gen AI, now we talk agentic now. When the introduction of Gen AI, I was reading some statistics that was saying that 90% of the project of the AI was failing, 90%. Another statistic saying now that 74%, McKinsey, I think, 74% of the project that we have is currently done by 18% of the organization. So there is a lot of potential. There is a lot of companies over there that did not yet start to use AI. Yes, they are trying, but they didn't reach yet the right ROI. In my opinion, why? Because if you just want, again, to Marwa's point, because I think it's a spot on, AI is a tool. And this is what we always talk to our partners, customers, that AI is a tool. It's good to have an AI, but it's better to know how to use it. So it's not just having an AI so you can have a checkbox. Yes, my data center now have GPUs. How you are going to use it? The question is, do you need the GPUs? Or maybe you can do it in your own laptop. Do you need this power? Do you need to put this investment now? Are you ready for this investment? All of this discussion, we are taking it on a daily basis. But what we can see in the market in Egypt, that definitely the discussion is taking place. Definitely the plans are there. Customers or partners are taking it forward. And I think we will have a very, very good adoption in the coming 2 to 3 years when it comes to the AI, because the maturity of the discussion, if I compare the discussion that I personally have today compared to the discussion that I had last year, there is the massive enhancement in the maturity of the customer. Just yesterday, I had a discussion about AI, and the maturity of the team, the young talent that was there, that was asking us in the meeting, what do you need? Just give me the confidence that we are on the right direction.
Could I ask Marwa, please, to share your thoughts about what practical advice you might offer moving forward?
Again, I'm bringing it to the local lens. I think collaboration. Collaboration in the sense that we're talking about sovereignty right now. And sovereignty means understanding the global innovation while also assessing the investments that we're going to be able to deploy in the local market. And nobody, not one organization, institution, or even the government itself is going to be able to do everything on itself. So collaboration means I need to understand what others are doing, what I can share, what cannot be shared in terms of use cases, outcomes, different things. So I think if that mindset comes into practice, and if the local players, whether providers of service of AI use cases, data centers, different organizations that deploy different things, and the government with the different type of industries, again, the collaboration can bring maximum outcome in a shorter time. Because, as Ossama was saying, we're looking at quantum, which is coming by 2029. Quantum, the full tolerant quantum machine, is going to be up and running, and maybe earlier. So I think we need to catch up as Egypt, as a society, on how we can leverage and maximize the gain from a huge investment. Because AI requires investments, and again, collaboration, in my view, is the key word.
And let us conclude where we began with Ossama, with your thoughts on this issue. What is the practical advice you would offer?
I'll build on my colleagues and friends had shared, and there's a very famous saying that I would love to end with. You tell me and I forget. You teach me and I may remember. You involve me and I learn. And a big portion why I decided to go into the journey of creating the mobile app, because until then, I read a lot of what's an AI agent, and I read a lot, I work in IT, but I didn't really understand what's an AI agent. Today I do, because I got involved. I rolled up my sleeves, and I really understood what it can do. And only then we can open the possibilities, because as Zomor said, yes, AI is a tool, same like a knife. A knife is a tool. You can use it to peel an orange and eat it, or you can use it to harm someone. Now the difference is, it's a knife with a mind of its own. It's not just a tool in our hands anymore. So the narrative is different. So my advice, involve me and I learn.
Thank you all. Ladies and gentlemen, please join me in thanking the esteemed members of the panel. My hope, my earnest plea, my one advice, my one appeal would be to please regard the U.S. Embassy here and the U.S. government writ large as a partner in this endeavor. We have seen, I think, over the past few years, more change in the conduct of diplomacy than we have in the prior decades of my own service. We have modified the word diplomacy with words like science, health, technology. AI is part and parcel of all of those things. We have been called upon to undertake what is truly a whole-of-nation approach in close partnership with academia, with the private sector as well. We are meeting that challenge. We are attempting to move at that elusive speed of relevance. Thank you for being with us today. Thank you for being a part of that every day.